Well, a very good morning. Welcome to Val di Fiemme in Italy for the last weekend of Tour de Ski action, the penultimate day today. And it is a 10-kilometre, or I should say a 15-kilometre mass start for the men, 10-kilometre mass start for the women. And the men going first, as they were at the beginning of the Tour. A crucial stage for those who want to be in the money come the climb of the Alpe Chimiste tomorrow. Val di Fiemme seems to have got away lightly, the whole of Europe being swept by high winds, wet weather. They've done an enormous amount of work. The only downfall, Mike, is today's race is being raced on a 2.5-kilometre loop.
It's the hardest 2.5. There are options of 2.5, but they've selected the toughest one, and that's got to be a tight track, 6 metres wide in places. So all of the remaining athletes, well, all 50 of them, it's going to be a tight push.
Well, there's a group of 4 leading the Tour de Ski. If you were with us 2 days ago, you will know that Petter Northug leads the Tour. It's only a 7-second lead over Kalle Halvarsson, who's having a wonderful Tour so far for Sweden. Martin Jonsrud Sundby, the defending champion, in third. And Yevgeny Belov, who for me is a little bit of an unknown quantity, Mike, because I can't find a record of him climbing the Alpe Chimiste. And that really is a crucial factor in how he's going to do in the overall Tour. He did so much work in that 25-kilometre pursuit 2 days ago. Has he got any energy left? Has he got the ability to climb the hill as fast as Sundby? Well, there's the programme for today. Cross country obviously first. We've got alpine skiing from Adelboden, Nordic combined with Simon Golding, and then the ski jumping, ski flying, we should say. Absolutely monster jumps there in Tauplitz, looking for distances well in excess of 200 metres. The biathlon from Oberhof, a few weather programmes, so the schedule has been changed somewhat in Oberhof, but they've been hard at work repairing the tracks. And then back to the Tour de Ski for the women's 10-kilometre classic, and Marit Bjørgen looking to make it 6 wins out of 6. She's already broken the record by winning 5 successive stages. Can she make it 6 today? And then the men's 15-kilometre is our first bit of action. This is the scene in Val di Fiemme, of course, frequently host the World Championships, Mike. I've never quite understood why Italy gets so many major championships when, if you look at the crowd numbers, they don't compare to Scandinavia. Well, they don't. And
when the World Champs came here 2 years ago, we had crowds, we had quite a lot, but nothing comparable to what I think we'll see in Falun towards the end of February. And of course, what we saw in Oslo in 2011. Interesting, Patrick, they could only make snow here in the evenings. It's too warm in the day, so they had to put the snow cannons on only in the evening, stockpile the snow, and then spread the snow on the track in the evenings as well.
Well, it looks good to go here in Val di Fiemme, and one of the crucial factors about today's race is the fact that it's a mass start, and therefore it's going to be very difficult for the classic specialists to gain an advantage over those who lead the Tour. Now, last year, Mike, this race was a time trial, an individual time trial. Northug managed to take 10 seconds out of everyone, which he could really do with today to extend his lead to something like 17, 18 seconds. The year before that was a mass start. The top 6 were separated by only 3 seconds. The year before that, it was a mass start. The top 10 separated by only 6 seconds. I think we're in for much of the same again. A group ski with a sprint to the line for the bonuses. But it's incredibly difficult for the good classic skiers like Roning and Polteranen and Villigjanen and Rickardson to gain the advantage that perhaps they deserve at this stage.
And over 15 kilometres, over 50 kilometres, we saw it here when Olsen broke the field. The field were caught sleeping initially, broke at 9Ks in a 50K race. But today, on the short track, surely it's almost impossible to get away for any one athlete to break. I did think maybe the Russian team would work for Belov to try and create an easier break for him. We'll have to wait and see.
Hats are off for most. We're almost ready to go. Just a couple of minutes before the start of the men's 15. The weather temperature, as you can see, 11.6. Is it really winter? It's almost middle of the winter, and we've still got ludicrously warm temperatures here in Val di Fiemme, but they've done good work. Let's have a look at this track. As we mentioned earlier, it is 6 times round, a 2.5 kilometre lap, and you've got not just one big climb, you've got a second big climb before you start to head down to the stadium, and then it's not all over at that stage, because there's a cruel little climb, and it's a steep one just before they come in to complete the lap. Who does this sort of course favour, Mike?
I'm trying to look at that. The climbers, I think, without a doubt, so the lighter athletes. Belov, I think, must be feeling good. He had the second fastest, 3 days ago in the 10-kilometre classic, just in behind Polterainen.
Have a look at number 11. Can you believe it? Andrew Musgrave lying 11th in the Tour de Ski for 2015. And if he can hold his own today, if he can stay in the top 15 or 16 today, he can certainly move into the top 10 tomorrow, because the Alpe d'Huez is a course that suits him. And his time last year was very impressive indeed.
It was, and last year on this day, Andrew was 41st in somewhat 5 minutes, 4:57 behind, and he moved all the way up to 26 in the last 2 days. So there will be dropouts today. Of course, those at the sharp end won't want to drop out, but I certainly believe Andrew can go much higher.
Now, you're going to find a few of them hard to recognise, because there'll be many athletes here who you've never seen without a hat on. Sundby stays disciplined, and he keeps the sponsor's hat firmly on his head. Others knowing that it's going to get warm. I think we might see shirt sleeve order tomorrow for the climb if the temperature stays like this. Over 11 degrees at the moment. Petter Northug there in the middle of your picture. Sundby, his big rival, on the right-hand side, and Halverson on the left as we look at it. So welcome to Val di Fiemme, the penultimate stage of the Tour de Ski. Mike Dixon, Patrick Winston, your host throughout today as we have been on the tour. What a tour it's been. It gets better every season. I think actually they've done well shortening some of the races. It's made it closer, it's made it more exciting, and it's going to be a brilliant finale tomorrow. But the men have the small matter of a 15-kilometre classic race, mass start as you can see, and the tour leaders with that little advantage at the beginning. Northug away clean. Sundby alongside him, Halverson on the far side, Belov of Russia, number 4, you can just see on the left-hand side of your picture. And this first 200 metres is all about getting out of the stadium without breaking any equipment.
Well, they were off the start blocks like I've never seen before. It was like a sprint race, jostling on this narrow track, jostling for a good early position.
Now we may get a good idea of who's got decent skis. Andrew Musgrave wearing number 11. You can just pick him up. He's settled in. I think he's gone in behind Danny Rickardson of Sweden. Just the man you want to be following, because at 6'4" and shoulders not much, almost as wide as that, he has a very useful slipstream behind him. But it's Sundby who sets the early pace. Is Northug going to try and hang on again? Northug, of course, the winner of this classic leg last year, but it was a slightly easier course.
And Northug, he must have good feelings from this place. Remember, the individual time trial 15-kilometre world champs, unexpectedly, he destroyed the field that day, and didn't expect it. He broke the field very early and held on to that 20-second lead that he had for most of the race.
25 with short sleeves order is Jonas Baumann for Switzerland. Number 6 for Canada, Alex Harvey. Nice to see him racing. Now, there are stories that Harvey will pull out before the final stage tomorrow. That would be disappointing, Mike, especially as he's lying in 6th. He's only 2:01 off the leaders.
It seems strange, but from what I've heard, he will do that, and he has done it before on this day, avoided the final day of the competition. Very strange, but there must be a strategy in there, an idea in there.
Well, I think there are a lot of athletes who aren't suited to the climb, and they just feel that they can do too much damage for the rest of the season by doing that Alpe d'Huez leg. And, I think I'd agree with that. Some of the other athletes, the lighter athletes perhaps, it doesn't seem to do any harm, but if you're weighing over 85 kilos, it's not the race for you.
It's a tough climb, somewhat 400 meters rise.
22, Curtin Pearl making a big move on the outside. He's working harder than anyone, but he's not really gaining because he's 3 meters, 4 meters wide of those on the inside track. 28 has no option. That's Bezmertnik for Russia, making good moves, getting up into the top 10.
Now he's alongside Belov, and we kind of expected that there's going to be some kind of Russian teamwork to help to try and assist Belov, at least get him in, tuck him in behind and try and drag him forward up the front.
The Russians, of course, won the Tour 2 years ago with Alexander Legkov, who's not racing this year. It was Norway's turn for the first time last year with Sundby, who leads at the moment, ahead of number 5, which is Niklas Dierhaug. How far back in the group is Petter Northug going to be prepared to go, Mike?
He'll float around as normal, around between positions 10 and like 25. Normally that's what he does in this mass start. But I think Sundby, there's the evidence, he's got another idea today. He's going to try and break the field. Is it possible?
Well, he's got his own teammate for company, but there's no doubt that he's pushing very, very hard. Look how it's starting to string the field out. A little bit of a gap appearing between Dierhaug and Halvorsen of Sweden. A move coming in from number 20, which is another of the Norwegians, Simon Andreas Svein, who's he's not going to let his teammates get away. Northug wearing the red bib as the Tour leader. He's in around 5th place in that left-hand column as they make their way up this little climb. Yevgeny Belov on his own leading that right-hand column. 22. We've already seen Curtin Pearl of Switzerland making good moves, and just looking out for Muzzy of Scotland or Great Britain.
He's just gone through. He was, I think, around, there he is, around, well, 25th. I thought he was around 20th position.
Well, we've had a lot of withdrawals from the Tour. We were expecting that. The sprinters really haven't got any reason to stay in past the leg in Val Moster, because it's not been geared towards them this season. And a total of 38 withdrawn before today, so that puts the total down of 54. And I expect we'll see a few more withdrawals today. Actually, we might have had a few who haven't started. We'll try and pick up on that. Sundby. Oh, Sundby takes a fall and he takes down. He's taken down Dierhaug as well. So all that early work has gone to waste for Sundby. And look how much ground he's losing. He has to rethink and come up with a contingency plan now. Oh, that was a careless mistake from Sundby. So rare you see him go down. But I wonder whether it was a lapse of concentration or possibly the snow. We've got 2 more colliders on the way down. The wet snow isn't helping. One of the Austrians has gone.
I think that's Tritcher, is it?
Could well be Tritcher.
Ski broken, pull broken.
Yeah, hands up, and he's looking for help. He's going to need it very quickly, but he's not going to see the group again today, however hard the assistants work. Now, that looks like one of the Swedish coaches straight on the mark to help out.
It is Tritcher.
It is Bernhard Tritcher of Austria, who now finds himself 150 metres. He's going to have a lonely ski.
I'd like to see that slow-mo again of Sundby. I missed exactly what happened, but how could he fall? He had an open corner, he was leading, and maybe it is lumpy with the machine snow on the edge of the track. I didn't see it.
Well, it's a little bit wet where he was, Mike, and I'm just wondering whether it's the wet snow grabbing the ski. It looked a little like Simon Aman's fall in the Four Hills just at the end of last week, where the 2 skis go different directions and you have no option but to go flat on your face. He's okay, he's back in action. Well, that is an astonishing burst from Sundby of Norway to get himself back up into the top 3. Now let's have a look at it. It is Sundby leading. Down he goes, catches that inside ski. Dierhaug has no option. All credit to Svein, who just dances his way through the gap.
Well, for Sundby to now, just on this descent and back up, to have pulled all of that deficit time back, he's put a huge amount of effort in. And I think his intention was to destroy the field early, but that fall has made him rethink.
Well, there he goes. He's got good skis, Sundby. Look at that. Oh, that's a great gain. And it wasn't even to do with the slipstream, because he was in the next door lane to the Swede Halvorsen. And he's gone straight past them and gained another 5 metres or so. Halvorsen looks to be on slow skis, Mike. With the double poling, he's losing valuable ground. Has he opted for sticky skis to help on the uphill?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. This is a long race. It's 15 kilometres. The terrain is massive, or the climb is massive. 576 metres climb. You need a grippy, sticky wax, but it does seem like Sundby's on a good glide.
If you're wondering why they're coming so close to the camera, they're looking for some shaded snow, which is just fractionally colder. There's not quite so much moisture in it, and it runs a little smoother. Although it has to be said, the tracks always feel slow, and sometimes it can be deceiving, Mike. Because you're out of the tracks, because it's a little bit bumpy, you feel as though you're going faster than you actually are. But I think today, they know they need the shaded snow more than ever before.
Well, 42, another fall. That's Florian Notz from Germany.
Well, that's going to be a feature of today. The first 2.5, and we've seen, what, 4 falls. Could get worse as they get tired. At least they've got the workers out. That's exactly where Sundby went down earlier on. And the pisteurs going to have a busy day today. Can you believe Sundby is back in front, back in control?
Well, he really is setting out his stall. He's got serious intent to get away from this field. What a mindset to do what he's just achieved. The fast fall, catch up the field, and then straight back to the front again.
But also, Deerhaug, who went down, has gone with him. Unless, of course, it was Deerhaug who danced through the gap. It might well have been. It might have been Svein who went down. But whatever, those 3 are still in the top 6 at the moment. So I wonder whether they're trying to get together to break Petter Northug. No sign of Northug at the moment. There he is, coming through in around 18th, 19th position, where he wants to be, but he looks as though he's having to work very, very hard just to stay with this pace.
Yes, I thought we'd see Roning. Oh, there he is. I thought we'd see Roning up the front 10, front 5, and I thought he might even win this one.
Well, it doesn't look as though Sundby wants to start tomorrow's race in second place, and he knows that if he gets 20 seconds on Northug, he's safe. Halvorsen, Mike, 33.51 on the climb last year, exactly the same time as Petter Northug, and although he may be in better shape, he's not going to improve it by more than 10-15 seconds. And Belov, we still don't really know what Belov can do on the climb.
He's a big, strong, muscly athlete, so you're carrying all that big, strong muscle up the hill. Where is he? There is Belov, number 4. I think he'll be good on the hill, his first trial up that hill. Northug on the right-hand side, just running up the inside, the former track.
Halvorsen on the far side for Sweden in the white suit and the black bib. Only one win in his career. That was a sprint in Oberhof. 25-year-old from Falun, which is where the World Championships are going to be held this year. So that's got to be his focus for the season, you would have thought, although so close to getting a possible win in the Tour de Ski. No Swedish man has ever won it. Charlotte Kalla, of course, did. There's Andy Musgrave going through, still well positioned up there, not far behind Petter Northug at the moment.
I think he's absolutely fine just now, and his wax teammate Asmund from back in his home club up in Norway, and Alex Standen, huge amount of work they've put in this morning, and they've been testing waxes all yesterday, and it's looking good for Muzzy.
Yeah, and all credit to Roy Young. We haven't given him a shout so far in the Tour. He's done a great job coaching both Andrew Musgrave and, of course, his son Andrew Young. Although Andy Musgrave attached to a club in Norway, that's been really the key to his success.
Yeah, also Andrew Young up there as well. In fact, Andrew Young racing today in Falun with Goldberg, Hadestad, all the big names having a feel for an FIS race, feel for the World Championship track.
You mean all the big names that aren't here?
All the sprinters that aren't here.
Yeah, all the sprinters that want a taste of speed, and that really is Andrew Young's forte. The shorter distance, he's a big man. Sundby perfectly proportioned for cross-country skiing. He looks very smooth going through. 11.34, doesn't seem to have suffered so far because of that fall.
The pace is vicious. This normally would Muzzy sticking a little bit there, coming up the rise.
Yeah, well, they've all got Clister on the skis, and anyone who's done cross-country skiing knows that it is very sticky stuff. There are times when it sticks too much, and that might be the case today. And with so much dirt on the track, Mike, they're going to be picking up some of that.
They are. Babikov was struggling there, Patrick, and this pace is an absolutely killer pace. I'm very, very surprised it's gone to such an intensity so early in the race.
Tamjov of Estonia's got left off the back of the pack. We haven't seen much of Dario Cologna so far, Mike.
He was there or thereabouts, but he seemed to be struggling.
Yeah, that looks like Dario Cologna. It is, in fact, Jonas Baumann of Switzerland. In fact, Livers skis like Cologna as well, not quite as fast. There he is, wearing number 7.
What about Jon Sundby this time? Different line, different approach, yes.
He plays safe, he plays very safe, but the bottom corner caught a few out as well. Hold your breath if you've got someone you're supporting today. Down they come. This time they're not so tightly packed in a single line due to the speed that Sundby has set on the first lap and 3/4 so far. No incidents. They've wised up, Mike.
They have, and it's a very difficult hill. You've come off an extreme climb and then you're hitting this descent at 65 kilometers an hour. It's deceptive.
Well, a different psychology required for this loop racing. If you're hurting, you've got to be very, very strong in the head to think positively. It's going to hurt everyone, but it's just that mental attitude, your mental approach to the race. Sundby will be feeling great out front. Halverson, I think, will be very happy in second place. He doesn't look as though he's struggling at the moment.
All the big names are there, and Northug especially is coming back up. He was 15th last time I checked. He's now 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, I wonder whether Northug feels that Sundby is going to go on the steepest climb, and this is one of them. He wants to be there to match it. Well, what a fantastic atmosphere in Val di Fiemme, and I think this is almost as good as we saw for the World Championships, Mike. It's a great crowd. They'll be enjoying the warmer weather. But it's been like this over the years, hasn't it? Often you come and race here, all the fans are in sunglasses and t-shirts, and there you are on your skis.
It's a wonderful venue. You feel there's a wide open valley, Val di Fiemme, lovely, beautiful valley, and in the back of their minds they'll know the importance of tomorrow, which rides down the other side of the valley, the sunny side of the valley.
Well, it looks to me as though Sundby has a fantastic pair of skis on his feet, so his technicians are going to get some praise at the end of this one if he wins it. He's not managed to shake off the majority of the field. Tim Schanker of Germany wearing 30. He's moved up well, and he's got Beloff behind him. Northug on the right-hand column. Behind Northug is Niklas Dierhaug, who we saw earlier on.
I think this year, Patrick, with taking the bonus sprint seconds, often we'd have a sprint 15, 10 and 5 seconds at 3 points on the course. That's not here this year, and I think that's much better.
5 kilometres in 15.11 minutes. That tells you just how tough it is. Normally that would be down at 13 minutes. Not only is it tough on the hills, it's slow on the downhills because it's wet. Musgrave going through. What's his time at the moment? That's all crucial. So we'll try and update you on that. Magnificat 31 is there. Magnificat, who helped Musgrave to such a brilliant result in that 25-kilometre pursuit in Toblach.
Important part of the race this for Muzzy. He's in 35th position. He's 15.8 seconds behind, so a little adrift of this incredible pace at the front.
Well, that's not bad, Mike. I'm not sure what Muzzy's aim is today, whether he's just going to be content with staying in the top 20 or whether it's all about time. If he can stay by the end of today, if he can be less than 3.5 minutes behind the leader of the Tour, that will certainly stand him in a position to get into the top 10 at the end of tomorrow.
It certainly will. I think his ideal wish would have been to stay with this top 15 group. This breakaway was going to be a breakaway group, you feel, because the pace is relentless, and those who have been feeling tired coming into today's segment will suffer at this pace.
I don't think Sundby's going to be too happy to see Northug behind him, and he's going to have to try and try and try. And I wonder how much more he's got in the tank.
And I think 2 days ago, when Belov did so much of the work, well, so did Halvorsen, so did Sundby, but Belov respected as doing most of the work up the front. It's hard days when you're out front.
Magnificat about to go through your picture, wearing 14. There he is for France, and he's a better freestyle skier. He's a very good freestyle skier. He was second fastest, I think, in that 25-kilometre. Andrew Musgrave, the quickest over the 25k. Now, he didn't get 50 World Cup points, but he's gone down as getting a stage win in the books, and that is a nice little bit of history for Great British skiing, and Musgrave deserves all the praise he gets for that, as do the support team. Here we go again on another steep hill, and Petter Northug's putting in the pace up to 100 metres up to the bonus seconds. Absolutely vital for Northug to be in there, but you know the price you pay if you sprint too hard. Sundby in second, Cologna's coming in on the act as well, and Halvorsen's there. Little sprint coming in from Cologna, but Northug, I suspect, will match it. Is he going to put in a little burst?
Sundby's got it. Or has he?
Well, Sundby takes it, Northug second, Cologna pushed down into third. Cologna needed the 15 seconds there. Well, that's an interesting one, Mike. 25-metre marker, you can see that was slightly strange to see Northug easing up.
Well, it was, and yes, normally the sprint bonus down in the stadium, up on the top of the steepest of hills, 24% lies that, and Northug slowly made his way forward from 1 kilometre before that marker.
But this is when they now suffer. They really do suffer. I think Sundby's idea, Mike, 15, 12, 10, so Northug losing 3 seconds to Sundby. And bonuses all the way down to 10, which is nice, because it means it's not just the leading 3 in the little sprint. For most, it won't make any difference. Halvorsen didn't want to let the points go. Cologna still, that sort of showed me, Mike, that Cologna believes he can still win this.
Well, he made an absolute attempt. He was on the worst line coming around that slightly left-hander as they were racing it. He's certainly a contender. I'm surprised they're not still trying to keep this pace strong to get rid of the rest, if you like.
Were you not watching what they've just skied up?
Superhuman they are.
Yeah, it's going to take a while for them to settle down, and I think we're going to see the whole group coming back. 9 seconds now, the margin for Petter Northug over Halvorsen, with Sundby moving a little bit closer to the lead. In fact, Sundby up into second place, having gained a 3-second advantage on those bonuses.
Belov, as he came over the steep rise there, he was slipping quite badly. And the rest of his teammates haven't been around. They're not quite able to stick with this pace. Like Janin, Bolzentsev, Toshev, Brasmentnik.
Alex Harvey just behind Andrew Musgrave.
Traditionally, Harvey does well on this day. He's often up the front.
Alex Harvey had pulled out by this stage last year. Winner of this stage, as we mentioned, was Northug last year. Sundby finished in second, and Chris-Andre Jespersen, who's lying 13th in the Tour, he was third, but it was a very different race. It was a time trial, and without the bonuses.
Good to see Hellner. He's been kind of invisible to this point, but obviously feeling good.
Yeah, Hellner's tour went wrong in Val Muster. He finished 52nd in that sprint, missed out on any bonus seconds, had a slow qualifying time, and really dropped out of contention at that stage. He was 5th in the prologue, he was 9th the second day, so he was still very much in the shout at that stage. But nice to see him up the front. I suspect we'll see quite a few Swedish withdrawals before tomorrow. Hellner could do with picking up some World Cup points, and of course a healthy check after today's work. So they're taking roughly 3 minutes per kilometre at the moment, and I suspect that last lap will be even slower.
At 6.5 kilometres, Patrick, the last check marker. I've got Muzzy still in 35th position, but notably the time is dropping back a little, which is very disappointing for him, 33.5 behind.
Expecting them to go through the end of lap 3 at around 22 minutes 45. Anything quicker than that, and they've accelerated. Well, it was a mad dash up to the bonus point, but it's been relatively pedestrian since then, and that's allowed Hellner to come through to the front. Mike, sprinting, it doesn't just take it out of you for the next minute or two. You raise your lactate levels, then somehow you've got to reduce the lactate levels to get into an easy rhythm again. How do you do that?
It's almost impossible, and of course that was why we did see the pace drop right off, and that's them trying to get the oxygen gushing through their system to try and get rid of the massive build-up of lactic acid. They would have all have been at about 96% of the maximum, 98, 100% even, as they dashed up that hill for the bonus seconds.
And as you may have noticed, Sumbi's dropped right back. Northug's dropped back as well. Sumbi actually in about 6th place on that right-hand column at the moment, and the pace being pushed by Sweden. The Swedes weren't interested, apart from Halvorsen, they weren't interested. And I wonder whether Hellner has come in to help Halvorsen along here.
Possibly. He's bound to be Halvorsen. He did say he was exhausted in the 15-kilometre pursuit 2 days ago.
Are you a fan of teamwork in this sort of event?
I think I am. You need to use all the cards that you've got in your hand, and if your teammates in any way who are not really going to win this event, they're ranked further down, why not get them to help you? You're racing for your country here as well as yourself. Now, what's the problem there with Dierhaug? Is pole broken?
Yeah, he's got one broken pole. He's looking. Surely there's a Norwegian coach somewhere. The ideal place to break a pole. There we go. There's a man out right. Has he got the right length pole? Dierhaug. Well, that's a nervous time for him, having done so much good work. Beloff, Mike, going through that split point. Where was Beloff?
Beloff, yeah, right up there at the sharp end of it. Only 1.1 second behind, 3rd position last time check.
So 23.07 after 3 laps, so the pace getting just fractionally slower. I've got that at around 7:40, 7:45 for that last lap, so they are dropping off after that sprint, but I think they'll settle down again on lap number 4, 6 in total. So the end of this lap will take them up to the 10-kilometre mark, and now, having gone through the halfway stage, Mike, they can start to think positively about the laps. It's a little like intervals, isn't it? The first one's always painful, the second one's dreadful, third one, and if you're doing 6, once you get to 4, you start to feel you're getting towards the end.
I think so, and in terms of what Sundby has done, he had the bad fall, he dropped right back to position 40, he had to sprint like mad to get back to the front, so that he was in that area, the top bracket, to pick up as many bonus seconds as he could. So he's put in 2 massive sprints, and now he's going through a little recovery phase, if that's possible.
Tony Livers wearing 17, he's in the Swiss colours, the black suit, as you can see, going around that corner just ahead of Petter Northug, who's dropped a long way back at the moment. He won't be too worried as long as he can see Sundby and Halvorsen and Beloff, but he's given some 10-15 metres away to those men at the moment, so Northug needs to be a little bit careful, because if Beloff starts to push the pace, he could move into the leader's position in the Tour overall. At last, Dierhaug gets a pole of the right length. He picked up a shorter one earlier on.
He did, and he's still shaking his head. He's not impressed with that pole, with waiting 1.5 kilometres to get a pole, or the correct size, the correct one.
So each coach holds a pole for each of the athletes in his team. And then if someone else comes along from another team who's got a broken pole, he's obliged to hand it over.
Well, that's what happened to Tritscher, although Tritscher's still 1:30 off the lead pace. Broken ski, broken pole, other teams helped him out.
Well, this slowing pace is great news for Andrew Musgrave, because it means that the time margin that he's likely to lose, which is trying to pick him up on his position, or is he out of that first group? They're going to have sore backs come the end of this, but it's all about technique, and they've done it many, many times. We see them here in Val di Fiemme every year. Dario Cologna has his own bell ringers who follow him around the circuit as well. That must be fantastic to have that sort of support.
Just checking up on Muzzy, last check 37.5 seconds behind, still 35th position, and should be coming through the
9-kilometre stage coming up. We'll get another split there. Markus Hellner in your picture, looking comfortable. The team sprint world champion from 2011. Hellner perhaps with less honours than you would have expected him to claim over the years.
He's always good when it comes to the majors, the Olympic Games, World Championships. Hellner is always at his best, on his best form.
Tim Schanke, the leading German at the moment. There's Petter Norte going through, and then we do have a gap with some tail enders, and I'm afraid that Andrew Musgrave has fallen off the pace of the leading group, so we'll track the time margin at the moment.
Losing time badly, he's now 44.4 seconds behind. That was at 8.5 kilometres.
And they've still got another 6 kilometres to go. Resurgence of the German team. They've got 3 or 4 in this leading group. Number 21, you just see there, is Jonas Dobler.
Well, that's interesting because the highest ranked athlete, the German athlete, is 21st position, and it is Dobler. But the other German athletes, Schanke, Bing, Bugel, Kuhn, Notz, they're really having a much better day. Is it the wax? Are they trying to, have they had team orders to pick it up?
Well, that would make sense, Mike. I know they've had a lot of retirements. Wenzel, of course, is gone. Wolf, Marshall, Vega, not big names, but they obviously decided they'd do the first couple of stages of the Tour and then pull out and save themselves for later on. Hellner around the right-hand bend. The caught Sumbi out early on. We've got another faller. 1, 2 have gone down. And Beloff in that mix as well. And I think Dario Cologna has gone down as well. He has. And now they've got to do what Sumbi did earlier on. All sorts of drama. My goodness. That could be a crucial mistake from Beloff of Russia to lose 100 metres at this stage of the race. Oh my goodness. Let's see where it went wrong, Mike. There's Beloff, number 4. He's right well. He's in close quarters with Cologna. I think actually you blame Cologna there because he was right up the backside of Yevgeny Beloff.
It was definitely Cologna, and Cologna had nowhere to go. When he placed his ski down, Cologna's ski was underneath him, and you just slip out when that happens.
Cologna working very hard to try and get back with the group. Beloff looks a little bit shaken. 2 places back on Dario Cologna, but they've got to make contact before the climb starts again, and the pace inevitably rises.
Frustrations, Patrick, how to manage frustrations where Beloff is just so close to the top in the rankings of the Tour, only a few seconds off, and then he falls. Now he's got to get his mindset back. He was so angry, shouted at Cologna. He needs to focus on what he's doing now.
Yeah, Martin Jacks is the man leading, number 24. This is when Beloff needs his teammates, and he needs them to make their way to the front and slow it down. I think we've got Volsentsev there, number 27. In fact, that's Turishev, 27. He needs to get to the front, slow the pace down and allow their man to make contact. Cologna has done so. Beloff's still some 25 metres off, and he's lost that rhythm. I think you're absolutely right, Mike. It's more of a mental thing at the moment.
He was shouting at Cologna, and it was Cologna's. It's tight pack racing, things are going to happen, but he seems very frustrated, and who wouldn't be? When he was in 5th position, he'd always been in 5th position, and to get that knocked down is so disappointing.
Well, it was 23, just over 23 minutes last time they went through the end of the loop. They're up to 10 kilometres now. The time should be just over 30 minutes. And it might be over 31. It will be over 31 by the time they've gone around the top end of the stadium. 10K's done. 5 still to go. This could be the hardest 5 kilometres they do in the Tour until tomorrow, of course, when the last 4 kilometres is up a downhill slope.
Good to see Jonas Baumann at the front, another of the strong Swiss. He's from Splugen in Switzerland.
I was going to say the first we've seen of Polteranin, Mike, who's 8th in the Tour. He's only 2:04 off the leaders. He's got a really good chance of making top 3 if things go well today. Polteranin 1.4 behind. Sveen is there. Sumbi's still in 6th. Hasn't really featured at the front of the group since that sprint where he picked up maximum bonus points. Got Northug, Rickardson, Livers all within 5 seconds of the lead. So Northug fans will be getting happier and happier. Another new pole for Nicolas Deerhout. That's why he was shaking his head, because he got the wrong length last time.
Well, or did he even get... There's a left-hand ski pole, there's a right-hand. I'm wondering if he was given the wrong side, and that would be so bad if that was the case.
Well, that depends on whether you have the old style of pole or the new type of strap.
Oh, a little bit of a scrap there.
Yeah, that's not good news for Halvorsen. It's shake of the head, and no doubt a few expletives coming out of the Swedish mouth there, but quite rightly so, because 27, which was Sergei Turyshev, bullying his way into that middle group. This is a race of races, Mike. This is the most exciting race I think we've seen on the Tour so far.
I love it, absolutely love it, and the pace is just really picking up again. This climb is so difficult, they make it look so easy.
Do you think Jonas Baumann, 25, got himself to the front to try and slow the pace? Looks like there's a break coming on.
That's exactly what Baumann did, to try and get Cologne back into the group.
Yeah, that was good work from Baumann. Now, who is making the break this time round? It looks like the Norwegian suit. It is a Norwegian suit.
And it's 20.
That, of course, is Svein, who's had a good race so far. He's taken Sundby with him. He's taken Sundby, and Northug gritting his teeth, but he always does that. He's only got 4 kilometres now to hang on. Halvorsen watching Northug like a hawk right behind him, with the shades resting on his head. Not sure why he's bothering to carry that extra weight. It may only be a few ounces, but they need every advantage they can possibly get. A drink coming on, that's not a bad move, provided you can pick it up cleanly. Now Northug moves a little bit closer as they build. Building, and guess why? Because there's more bonus seconds at the top of this climb coming up, and so Northug gets himself into the perfect position to make the charge. But what will he have left come the second round? Cologne's got himself back in the picture as well. Unbelievable skiing from Cologne. Where is Belov? He's on the back, I think, but he's not going to feature. He's not going to get any bonuses this time round. Cologne 7. What's he got left in the tank after that sprint after his fall? Halvorsen leads the way at the moment. Northug in second. Sundby watching, looking smoothest of all of them, number 3. He could make a move in the final stages, and the Russians now may sense that if they can get some bonuses, it might help Belov. And number 10 is coming through. That's Villigjanin. Oh, Northug gets the full whack. 15 for him, 12 for Halvorsen. Cologne settles for 10.
Halvorsen had done most of the hard work to the high point, and then he backed off with 20 metres to go. Where's Belov?
Now, has anyone...
There he is.
Has anyone got anything left in the tank to make a break? Because this is the time to try and make your move, Mike. While those who are involved in the sprint are trying to recover, Belov will seize on this opportunity, surely, to move up through the order.
He will, but the crucial fact is that he hasn't got it. He hasn't gained. He hasn't earned himself any of those precious seconds, those points.
Deerhout finishing in 6th. And as we saw, Northug in top spot. It's phenomenal what this man seems to do. Interesting technique from Halvorsen there, keeping the hips forward, the feet forward. Lots of pressure going down through the ski, but he didn't have it in the last stages. And Northug this time gets the full quota. Now, the only bonus remaining is the finish line. And there are the current standings. Halvorsen 14 behind, Sundby at 18, and who was that in 4th? Was that Belov back at 52?
52. His race is almost over. He's back in the this lead pack, but
he's got to work his way to the front. He cannot start tomorrow more than he needs 15. He needs to win this one, surely, Mike, if he's going to have a chance tomorrow.
He does. He needs to get himself back to the front, if that's entirely possible. I'm not sure. Musgrave, Andrew Muzzy, 56 seconds behind, 36th position at the last check.
Surprised to see number 16, which is Eldar Roning, so far off the pace. He's got Tony Livers for company. Martin Jonsrud Sundby seems to have recovered quicker than anyone else. The Germans, are they looking for their first stage win of this year's Tour? And in fact, we've had 5 stages, and 5 different winners, or 5 different men with the fastest times. Colonia won the prologue on day 1 in Oberstdorf. Nortug won the following day. Pellegrino won in Valmestère the sprint, and then Polteranen, an astonishing time in the 4th leg in Toblach. And then, of course, the second day in Toblach belonged to Andrew Musgrave of Great Britain. 53.29, his time for 25 kilometres. It's a staggering pace they achieved on that day. The pace today very different as they descend what has proved to be the hardest section of downhill.
Well, the German skis are gliding so well. They're gaining many meters on the descent, so they've obviously got very good grip, clearly, for these steep climbs, and the glide factor is brilliant.
Now, Mike, how much of a lead does Nortug need tomorrow if he's going to win his first Tour de Ski?
I think I said on day 1 he'd need 45 seconds to be safe, but surely he could survive with 25-30 seconds.
Well, it's a big ask. Now, if you look at the times on the Alpe Tramise, which is tomorrow's leg, the individual times vary very little, and probably only due to the snow conditions. Nortug last year 33.50. Jonsrud Sundby 32.49, a minute and a second, although Nortug worked much harder up to the base of the hill. So I think to say 45 seconds is probably correct, but Nortug would love to take a minute into tomorrow. Is it going to happen?
Unlikely. I would say, well, at the moment Sundby's what, 18 seconds behind. Halvorsen's less than that. I think it was 12 seconds.
Well, can you imagine the fight down the hill that you can see on the right-hand side on the last lap? It's going to be mayhem, I think, going down there. Everyone jostling for position.
Polteranen slowly but surely working his way to the front of this group. There's Belov amazingly. From somewhere he's sorted his mind out. His body has to be exhausted like they all are, but he's slowly working his way forward. Andrew Musgrave 1:11 behind right now.
Well, that will drop him below a lot of these men in this group. But remember, his strength is the final day, and he's looked very good. Musgrave's time on the climb last year, 32.26. So he took a long time out of well, in fact, he even beat Sundby on the climb last year. So don't be too despondent at the moment. I think we're going to see him climb back up into the top 15 of the Tour.
The
bell goes. The last lap, 2,500 meters to go. There are 3 brutal climbs for these skiers to negotiate, and of course no sprints on the last lap except for the finish line, and there will be more bonuses awarded there. So vital that the main players in this year's Tour are involved in that sprint. Nortug back again. He's dropped back into about what, 13th, 14th position. Danny Rickardson just looking over his shoulder. I think he'll be having a look to see where Kalle Halvorsen is, but Halvorsen has dropped back a little bit further. He won't have spotted him. And we find Dario Colonia in the lead again. Colonia, who started today 2:01 off the pace of the leaders in the Tour. He needs this last 15 seconds. He's made improvements today, Mike Colonia, but has he done enough to have a chance of winning for the 4th time?
I don't think so. When you look at the names ahead of him, you've got Halvorsen, you've got Sundby, Nortug, it's unlikely.
Halvorsen, big sprint last time around. I'm not sure he's fully recovered. I'm not sure we're going to see him in the picture, but maybe he's trying Nortug's trick of sit at the back. But it's such a risky tactic when you've got a group this size, isn't it, Mike? Because if Colonia goes, unless the rest of the pack go with him, you've got nowhere to go. And Nortug's right at the back. This would be the ideal time for Sundby or, of course, Colonia to make a break.
Just looking at Colonia at the front, he had that very fast fall. Sundby had a very fast fall, and Belov, the mindsets of these guys are quite amazing. To get set back like that, lose 15 seconds and claw it back quite quickly.
Well, you might have seen Belov, who's wearing 4. He's got himself, I'd say Belov's around the top 12, 13 positions. Just looking for his bib again. There he is in the middle of the pack. He's done exceptionally well. And I think the bonus seconds playing to his advantage, actually, Mike, because if there hadn't been a bonus, it would have been a steady, fast pace, and that would have made it much harder for him to get in the picture again.
But it did. The fall has cost him any hope of picking up anything from the second batch of 15-second points on offer. But that's the way it goes.
But that stands him in much good stead to move up the order for this final lap. Classic is dead. Come it's far from it. It's far from it. Classic skiing, of course, the traditional style. Not until 1984-85 was skating really taken seriously, and a lot of nations have actually. The kids are full-time skaters because it's so much easier to get your skis ready. Oh. Everyone knows that aspect of it, but when you watch a race like this, Mike, you have to say, do not get rid of classic.
No, it's wonderful, and it is difficult to get the wax right in these strange conditions.
So Norway's hopes resting with Sundby and Northug, and on the right-hand side, number 5, that's Deerhaug. Polteranen looking good for Kazakhstan, wearing 8, just going through your picture. There's Halvorsen on the... Where is Halvorsen? He surely has to start making a move now. He was at the back of this group before, and he's still at the back of the group.
Desperately tired, Patrick, in about 18th, 20th position.
This is where the sprint was last time round, and Petter Northug still right at the back. Is he going to be able to recover? He is fighting, but he's some 25-30 metres off the leaders, but we've seen him work miracles in the past. He might do it again. A change of track from Northug, looking for a little bit more speed. He's going to have to dig so deep if he wants to win this one today and go into tomorrow with a substantial lead.
Northug's ability to get through traffic, to read the track, to take the best line, he's quite phenomenal. And look at all these people up front. Surely he can still make his way through this pack.
Dario Colonia leading at the moment for Switzerland. On his shoulder, on the near side, we've got the Germans who've done very well today. That's Thomas Bing on the near side. On the far side, number 28, Besmentnik of Russia. A really good classic skier, Besmentnik, but he's not going to do anything in the climb on the hill tomorrow because that's in the freestyle. Deerhaug, Mike, lying 5th in the Tour, 2 minutes down on the leaders. It was that big gap. I think after the last stage we felt that the winner, the top 3, were all going to come from that leading group of 4. Northug, Halvorsen, Sundby and Belov. Has that changed for you?
Well, I don't think Colonia can bridge that massive gap at the start of the day. Of course, it was 2 minutes back to 2 minutes 1 second back to Colonia. He's pulled some of it back, but so difficult to take it all.
Northug 8 seconds behind, 8 seconds behind in 22nd position at the moment. Those 2 sprints for the bonus seconds seem to have cost him, but we've written him off before. This is what he does, doesn't he? He gets the commentators on the edge of the seats. We write him off. We tell him he got his tactics wrong, and then he'll come through and surprise us in the last 500 metres. Keep your eyes carefully on that man with the red bib on as the Tour leader.
And look at bib 44, I think it is. Giorgio De Centes having a brilliant day today, the 42-year-old.
Well, the gap's getting bigger and bigger, and Northug finds himself some 40 metres behind Belov. He really needs to get up with Sundby. Sundby's well positioned at the moment. Russia leading the way at the moment. Besmetnik looking for maximum points, 50 World Cup points on offer, but Dario Colonia is still there. This is the crucial hill that hasn't claimed the scalp of anyone, but it's certainly made life very difficult for Sundby, for Belov, for Colonia, and of course for Deerhaug. Round they go. Well, the pace is picking up, Mike, and I think Northug's chance, have we got to the stage where we write him off? He's now 100 metres behind.
With it there, well, he's moving round, never write him off. Oh, he's trying, and he's thinking, how come they're going so fast and I'm not able to match them now?
Well, I think he was having a look to see who was up the front there, and I'm not sure he'll be so happy to see that Sundby is still well positioned. He can't afford to lose too much time, but Northug may come on this last climb. It's still Besmetnik leading for the Russians. Dario Colonia very well positioned, the man who's won the Tour on 3 occasions. Colonia, his last 3 tours, first, second, didn't race last year due to injury. Northug, however, second, third, fourth, third. He's had a run of podium finishes, but has never won it.
Great pacing from Besmetnik. He didn't get involved in the sprints early on, and that management of energy output has helped him.
Keep an eye on number 3, Sumbi, on the right-hand side of your screen. He's trying to move up and get closer to the leaders. Bonus seconds would be so valuable for Sumbi here today, with Northug still adrift of this leading group. Round they go, 46 minutes on the clock. When did we last see the world's best skiers take over 45 minutes for a 15-kilometre? I cannot remember it. I think we've got to go back to the 80s.
It's a brutal course. It's been a huge test for all of these athletes. Colonia back into second place. Polterainen lining up for the sprint.
Well, it looks as though Sumbi might miss out on the bonus seconds. A gamble made. Sumbi's down in around 7th, 8th place at the moment. Here goes Dario Colonia. Is he going to get his second win of the Tour? He'll become the only man to have won 2 stages so far. Colonia on the left of your screen. Besmetnik 28 in the middle. And the German's going well with Tim Schanke. One in from Dario Colonia. It looks as though Schanke might have it. Or is it going to be Polterainen? It's all down to the finish. And Tim Schanke gets a win on the Tour. First time ever for the German. And it's been such a quiet Tour for the Germans. That will certainly boost the team. Wow, what a finish. Keep your eye out for Deerhout goes through. He's some 10 seconds off. Where is Petter Northug? 16, 17 seconds down. And I'm afraid all those bonuses he picked up have been thrown away by his failure to get in the picture in the closing stages. Wow, what a race.
Brilliant race. What about Sumbi? He was up in that sharp end. He was.
I'd give Sumbi around 8 or 9, somewhere around there. He's in 8th. He's in 8th, some 4 seconds off. So a 13-second gain over Petter Northug. It's going to be the tightest start to the final day that we have ever seen. And the German team absolutely delighted with that. You picked up on the fact their skis were going well. That has to be a factor.
And I think that's what he's saying there to the technicians. Amazing job. It certainly helps. And a great job there from Colonia to have picked himself back up, brushed himself down, and got to as far as he did. So Colonia started today 121 seconds behind the leaders, Mike. If he can get to within 30, I don't think he's managed it. And
great race,
third place.
Had he not fallen on that third lap,
I think it would have been different, because that intense pace he had to do there prior to the sprint, which he did get back up into the points there. Quite an amazing achievement.
17, Tony Livers of Switzerland, a good run for him. Let's have a look at the finish. Tim Schanke in the middle, Polterainen on the near side for Kazakhstan, only 1 ski boot in it, and Dario Colonia getting some bonus seconds for finishing in 3rd. The 2 Russians coming in 4 and 5, Volsentsev and Besmetnik. Belov, Mike, where did Belov come in?
Belov just trying to pick up on him.
I think he's around 17, somewhere around there.
Yes, 16th.
16th place for Belov. Time-wise, Belov...
about 15 seconds.
So he's only gained 2 seconds on Petter Northug, who has not recovered quite yet. And he's got less than 24 hours to be back in racing shape for the climb up the Alpe Chaumes. One race that he doesn't enjoy, and he's quite happy to admit it.
What a finish. What an amazing finish. And beautifully timed there from Schanke.
There you see Sumbi, number 3, coming across the line. This is why I like those intermediate sprints, Mike, because it opens up the finish, and those who decide they're not interested in bonus seconds can go for the win. It's given Schanke the opportunity to get his first ever win. There are your 3 podium finishes. Polterainen wasn't far away. He was always going to move up the order today, but Polterainen, a lot of work to do. He started the Tour in 8th, or started today in 8th, 2 minutes and 4. So actually Polterainen and Colonia are going to start very closely together tomorrow, but Colonia by far and away the better freestyle skier.
There's a tired man.
Yeah, most of these athletes recover in a minute. I think Northug knows he gets more airtime if he stays on the ground.
More advertising.
Yeah.
That's Muzzy just walked through. Muzzy's finished 35th and 2:13 behind. The coaches don't really like him. It's a bad example to all the clubs that you're lying on the cold snow for 5 minutes.
No, he's not. He's saying, come on, the bus is leaving. A little bit of drama. He's always there. There's always a story around Petter Northug.
Fantastic race from you today. You had obviously great skis, and you were strong yourself as well, especially in the finish.
Yeah, The tour begins very bad for me. We never rest since World Cup Davos, so I was very tired in the beginning of the tour and bad skis. And yeah, for my team from Oberhof, the tour is like relaxing. Like, it's only one time fast training a day, so it became better and better the last days because only one race, nothing more. And yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, but I did so much training this year, and so it's a victory. It's okay.
And you're getting strong at just the right time. You look forward to your good shape right now for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I'm so far away. I'm 4 minutes back, and I will enjoy the uphill. And when it's okay, then it's fine. And when it's slow, it's not necessary after today.
Well, congratulations on a fantastic victory today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy it. He says it's fine. It's fantastic. He'll come to realise just what he's achieved. Great race. When he says the tour started badly, 73rd in the prologue, 49th the second day, gained a few places in the pursuit, but
it was a good insight there as well, Patrick, when he said they came into this tour pretty much exhausted. They hadn't had a break since Davos. That's the World Cup well before Christmas. Obviously, clearly their plan is the World Championships, and as he said, this is more like a holiday, or it's easier here because it's just one session a day, albeit an all-out race. Quite interesting.
Well, why then, if that's the case, do so many of the top athletes, and particularly the athletes who are competing for a top 3 position in the tour, why do they tend to suffer so much after the tour? Is it purely down to the format of tomorrow's race, the lactate building climb up the Alpe d'Huez?
It does destroy on that final day, especially 4 kilometres uphill skiing.
Beloff down in 17th. Didn't make any significant gains over Petter Northug. Halvorsen is one man we haven't picked up on his finishing position. Of course, he's one of the 4 in the top group in the Tour de Ski standings. We'll try and identify him. Surely he's not outside the top 15. Oh, in fact, he's a long way down. 27th for Halvorsen.
He lost so much. It's like hitting a wall. He lost so much in the last 1.5 kilometres.
So the last shot, and we get to see Tim Schanke crossing the line. Great celebration from the German, claiming his first stage win in the Tour de Ski. Well, it's a very busy weekend, but I do hope we've got time to just to catch up on the standings in the Tour de Ski. Your predictions, Mike. Northug still leading ahead of Halvorsen, but in fact I think Sundby might have moved into second place and might even have overtaken Petter Northug. That's going to be very tight, and Beloff will have dropped back as well.
And Cologne must have pulled a little back from his 2:01 behind.
Well, there are the final results for today. You know, Schanke, Polteran and Cologne on the podium today. Unfortunately, we've got to move on. I think there's some Nordic Combined coming up and some Alpine skiing. It's a very, very busy programme. We'll be back with the women's race, and we will update you on the men's positions when we come back for that women's 10 kilometre a little later on today. Thanks for your company. From Mike and myself, goodbye.